I believe Mademoiselle requires our attention.
Agreed! We're in position!
About time!
Move out!
What took you?
Sure, yeah. For this game, I mean, like, the characters are the most important thing, but for the kind of action that we have in the game, you know, it's gunplay based. We knew right away it was going to be very important to actually have cover in the game, and so we spent a lot of time and effort making the cover system as advanced as we could. You know, we saw what worked in some of our favorite games like Gears of War and Uncharted and Tomb Raider, and we thought about what makes sense for the order. So we made some changes. It's very familiar. People, I think, will understand the control scheme very quickly, but it is our own take on cover systems. And for the weapons, we really like, you know, our weapons are our characters, too. It's like we have guns that are kind of simple, and then we have things like the thermite rifle that are, you know, big and over the top, and they're more fun to play with, I think, than just standard pistols. Yeah. So what we saw today in the demonstration is a section of the game called Whitechapel. The knights basically get called out to the streets to help Isabeau, who is a fellow knight of their order. And one of the weapons that we see is the thermite rifle, which Galahad and Mallory and Lafayette find inside the cellar of the building they just came out of. The thermite weapon is actually it's a prototype weapon that was designed for the military, and it has two functions to it. It shoots thermite dust that basically hits anything and explodes into dust, and you can ignite it because it's flammable with a flare. And so you spray it first, then you shoot a flare, and the flare explodes into fire, the fire comes raining down. And it really allows you to get at targets that are behind cover, and also anybody you catch with it burst into flames. They usually have more conventional weaponry, like rifles or pistols. But in this case, at the very end of the demo, you see a guy in armor. He's dressed in metal. We call those armored class guys. He happens to also have a thermite rifle. So when you get to the section that we ended with, it's clear that the squad is up against an enemy who has the same kind of firepower as the knights. So having thermite yourself, but also having an enemy who has thermite, is a very dangerous fight. Well, since February, which seems like such a long time ago, we've actually improved a lot of things. The cover system has been improved a lot. We actually have a new variation of it that we call soft cover, which basically allows for a little bit more of an easy way of getting in and out of cover and moving around cover. The player doesn't have to always use the circle button to get in and out. If you press circle, you attach very quickly. If you pull back on the left analog stick, he'll kind of stay low, but move around very low, and then you just push towards it again, and he snaps back into it. We found this kind of makes cover gameplay a little bit easier and a little bit smoother. You don't always stay low and then pop back up. You have kind of this middle ground. Obviously, the visuals have advanced a lot since February, actually. If you go back and look at the February stuff that we released and you look at what we have now, it's far more graphically advanced. The lighting is better, the characters are better. The environments have been relit. There's a lot more detail in the world.
Lafayette, monocular.
We really wanted to focus on the single-player story first and foremost, and I think it became pretty obvious, you know, very early on that if we were going to try to do justice to the single-player campaign, that we were going to have to compromise somewhere if we split our focus on doing a co-op mission.
We're clear. Move in.
There's a lot of different places. Like, I think from the February stuff you were talking about in this demonstration, we're seeing a lot of Whitechapel. Whitechapel for us was kind of one of the places that we knew was very rich with, you know, it's dirty, it's kind of ugly, there's a lot of interesting looking buildings. So for us, kind of coming out with Whitechapel first, I think set a good tone for the game. But there's certainly other places. You'll go to, you know, more upscale areas like Mayfair. There are other places that are older, and there's places that are kind of you know, more hidden away that we can't talk about now, but you'll see them. And I think diversity is something that we definitely didn't want you to feel like you were stuck in just Whitechapel for the whole game.
But for so few, such terrible strength.
The game is not really about kind of branching story paths like a Mass Effect or something like that. Our goal was to basically have whoever plays it kind of have a very similar experience from beginning to end. We want to make sure that the story that we're telling, you know, is as good for you as it is for your friend and somebody else. But that the small decisions that you make inside the game are the things that are meaningful or different, and making sure that the quality of the content is consistent from player to player.